Hello from Safonovo. This is a podcast Pigeon of Peace where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about speech culture and let's start with the definition.
Speech culture refers to mastery of literary language norms combined with the ability of use language efficiently, ethically, and very precisely in various communication situations to speak appropriately. It encompasses accuracy, logic, clarity, and acting in culture way in language mean that you always use the very right words. Your sentence is clear, your thought is understandable, and your way how you communicate is quite polite. In English, it's quite an easy word or easy phrase, cultural English. But in German, there is a special word, Hochdeutsch, which means like high German. What I don't know. Is it okay to say English, high English? But okay, maybe English London style or something like this. Language culture is crucial for professional communication, social interactions, and preserving language tradition. And also, I will tell you a very funny situation. Yearly, I look into special databases or I wait for notice, and each year some countries and some dictionaries like Webster, which is standing, I don't know how to say, behind me, yes?
Behind you.
Behind me, thank you. Oxford and Cambridge and Webster, and also the same languages are used, but with different names in Russia. In Russia, for example, in year 2006, several words which were included in the dictionaries were life hack and podcast. In this year, several words which were included in the Russian dictionaries was labubu and Zoom conference.
Well, and if I probably would compare it with a productivity or personal efficiency. The moment you want to recognize where you are and where you want to move, you actually need to know what is your current point. So if you would have some sort of as a person, some sort of a measurements or maybe at least a rankings or at least a basic system to understand what is the individual level, how exactly it could be done.
You should use several issues. First, normative compliance. You should establish a rule of language for yourself, not lower that usual language. For example, I don't know how to say, speaker on the TV, диктор центрального телевидения, speakers on the central TV.
Central TV speakers, yeah, something like that.
Central TV speaker. So you should listen how they use the language and use the same way. For example, if you work in a huge country or country which are represented by several languages, наречие, how to say наречие, когда несколько видов языков.
Dialect.
Thank you. Or especially dialects, you should use the central one. For example, I was working for Maldives Treasury, and I was using language of the northern Malay. And then I was on another islands, and they were saying, "Oh, come on, we know you are definitely from the capital because you're speaking like them." Second, you should improve your communication quality, ensuring speech is clear, logical, and appropriate for audience or situation. Third, you should be ethical in pronunciation and some other stuff. You should apply proper speech etiquette, such as politeness, and respect, which is considered a hallmark of a cultural person. And also, you should provide functional adaptation, adjusting your tone, volume, speech to suit different context when you speak, for example, перед людьми.
Before, in front of the people.
Yes, thank you. In front of children, or in front of workers, and adopt your language from formal business meeting versus casual, informal, or even public speaking when you are keynote speaker for the company, industry, or political party.
And we probably, okay, mentally we'll move to Southeast Asia. The way they can hold, like, I would say, like the tones and, be more polite. So when I was thinking about this topic, I also was thinking like speech culture is probably not how you speak, but maybe how you do it, like when you think no one sees, or in the situations when you definitely should lose it. For example, I take a Thailand as example, maybe even Indonesia. There, it's considered like as no to, like low, increase your voice, or maybe like use certain things regardless of like which I would say like a status you are, you cannot afford that. This is hence they're smiling, and maybe vice versa. For example, I had this another thing is completely different when I was working with the Federal Treasury. So they have like a closed units where you would go, like for example, when you work for the closed budgets or whatever. So you would always be watched. That means, like whatever you say, whatever you write on a piece of paper, it's always will be watched. So going back to the speech culture, so is it how you speak, or maybe this is also measured how do you speak and act, like when you totally out of your environment, when you're angry, or when you actually don't want to show it, but still people observe like how you communicate in that specific condition. And sometimes they might be, like using popcorn just to, like make sure that okay, they will turn it into a very nice show.
You're quite right. As always, when we talk about cultural diversity in special, yes, in Thailand and in some Indo-China region, it is not allowed, and you couldn't afford to be rude, to raise your voice. By the way, when I was working in Thailand for the very first time in Bangkok, I found that if I will raise my voice, people would just close their eyes and wait until I will lower my voice. And for me, it was very similar to behavior of my sister's doll. It was a doll which was brought from my aunt from Germany, Aunt Teta.
Auntie, yeah, or aunt.
Auntie, thank you, from Germany. And if you will put this doll in horizontal position, it would just close the eyes as it going to sleep. The same was with the Thai people. They just close their eyes. They like cut this time when my voice is raised, and then just open when it fall down, and then we continue as usual. And it was quite strange. If you will work, especially in England, I was working there for very short periods and just several times, but I always was quite impressed by the language they use. Each word is quite understandable, but they are so twisty. They are so, I know how to say, they use like a mental hooks and even some part of black humor, and just with their language, I was beaten a lot of time. I was quite right by the procedure, by the digits, by the formulas, but I was always beaten by the language. And it's not about how it's not about quality of my language. It's superiority of their language. And when I was working in USA, I was working quite a long period of time, and not once. I found that they also do not like when you broke some rules. Okay, you could say shit, you could say fuck. By the way, it was my idea. Maybe I could watch some films to be prepared to our recordings. And I heard from you that this serial which called Suits, and something like this. And I watched for several series, but I found that Harvey Specter is always saying the word fuck, and then I thought, okay, I just could be used to it, and I don't want it. So a lot of American movies and serials, they use so many bad words that it would make you to be seen in some countries like uncultural, but it's quite usual in USA. But if you will say something quite rude or use some special colored words, then you would be banished from the cultural society, and they will say, okay, you should work on your culture, you should go for special training, and so on. But for example, if you will work in Russia and you will not say bad words, everyone would say, okay, maybe something wrong with you. Why are you trying not to use them? Maybe you always think what to say, and maybe you're like a spy.
Well, yeah, sometimes people also can have their own demons, which you also probably need to acknowledge and deal with. And if we're speaking about probably how to advance at certain point of time, because yes, okay, we know who you are. Like for example, what is the person, where's the person is, where they're gonna move, what kind of culture, like people culture that they're gonna be exposed to. But at certain point of time, it's also might be enough, and I do believe it should be never enough. So how do they think? Okay, like what is my next level? And again, probably they should ask themselves why. But how they would define like how big is the scale? For example, when they meet like the people who are higher in the position, it doesn't mean that they could be blindly copying them, as you rightfully say. Even people in the higher position, they actually could be acting like as a pigs or someone who just cannot, like excuse everything with the amount of money they have. But again, like if someone wants to find, I would say the diamonds. So how exactly the process of searching should look like?
Quite a good question. Maybe you wouldn't believe me right now, but it would be a time when you will feel your superiority, but not by yourself, but some people would say, Maxim, you was quite a brilliant. You will be given interview, you will be given speech, and among other people, you will be outstanding because you have quite a good experience to be in direct affair. It's okay to say direct affair on
Or
the air.
on the air.
On air, on air. On air or on the air?
Depends, but both work.
Work on air. Okay, thank you. So you will not notice this in 1 week or 1 month, but okay, when we will finish to record our 1000 time, you will watch your 10s or 12s, and you'll see that it is difference. Yes, it maybe I will do some more progress because I was started from a very low base, but you will see that you was improving in your eye moving, in your gesture, in your even phrase building. And culture of the speech, it's not about words, it's about how to, I don't know how to say, жонглировать.
Jungling, or like, yeah, throwing in the air.
Okay, because jungle is like a forest, tropical forest. Okay, so thank you. You will notice that you will spend less time than other people to pick the right word, and your words would be quite accurate, and your phrase would be very sophisticated. Several days ago, I was talking with some startup. They are from Germany, and they want also to build artificial intelligence, and they also among others features, they would say, okay, we will use a very quality language, and we will help people to talk with our AI. So first we will try to уточнить,
Figure
specify.
out or specify.
Thank you. First, we will try to specify what people want. So it would be like a small chatbot, and after several phrases, after several loops, just then we will define the prompt, give to the large learning machine and language machine, and it will produce the result. And I was saying to them, no, it's quite a wrong way. You should be adopting to the language people talk, because if you want to use special machine to increase culture, how we speak to the LLMs, you are going in quite a wrong direction. We should not ask people to be slim. We should sew clothes for them, for their feet.
Well, yeah, and I think with all of that, we actually made a brief overview of what is the speech culture and how it could be helpful for you. So learn the skill and stay in peace.